Oh my goodness. Okay. I think we're live, finally. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. Just trying to get connected. I'm always mucking around with technology. Here we go. Here we go. How's everybody doing tonight? Hello, Miss Laura. Hi, Miss Sue. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for being patient, as usual, with all my shenanigans. Okay, let me see here. I'm going to leave this over here. All righty. Just trying to think about what I need to get here. Checking out comments. All right, we have a few of you here. So we're going to paint our Thrifty Thursday project tonight. This is over in my shop. So if you want one of these, they're 25% off just today only, and they will not be on sale after midnight tonight. So if you do want one of these, make sure you go and snag you one for 25% off. So we're going to show you how to paint it. And we might as well just get started. I'm going to remove my face from the picture, and then you'll just be able to see me painting down here, and then I'll pop back on once we finish painting. All right, so I'm going to disappear here for a second. So I will be checking your comments as I'm painting. So if don't feel I'm ignoring you, I will glance over there every once in a while. But if I do miss any comments, I will definitely answer those questions later on. So this has all of the letters and placement marked out here. I'm just removing all of these because we don't need them straight away. So let me just get all my pieces and parts. Now I am going to mark, let's see, yeah, see the hat is not marked here. So I'm just going to mark this bottom line with my trusty pencil so I know where to stop with my, and I'm going to move it up just a little bit because I just need to know where to stop with my black. And I think that should work. Okay. So let's get these out of the way. Okay, so thank you to everybody that has, I better be careful not to lose all these little dots here because we don't want, that would be a catastrophe to lose all those little pieces. All right, we have everything off this thing. So the black first. Now, what I'm going to do is if I paint directly black over that, I'm afraid that I might lose my placement of my lettering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my makeup sponge to go over that. And I don't know that I want to do it completely black. I think I want to do it with some graphite, if I can find my dang graphite. There we go. I think I'm going to do his hat in graphite and not black, just because I don't want to lose my letters. So I'm just going to take my makeup sponge and I'm going to dab. See, that makes me happy. I engraved it a little bit deeper just so that we wouldn't lose those marks. Now, you might not be able to see that on camera, but I can see where it needs to be, so that is a good thing. And now, if you want to paint yours black, you know, you totally can. You don't have to go by what I'm doing. I just thought I would use this color instead. And I'm just going to use my dauber, my little makeup sponge over these letters, and then I'm going to use my brush to paint the rest. Just to save some time, but so that is a true test right there. So they're engraved deep enough that we're going to see where our placement is. So I'm happy about that. So I also want to measure this guy just to make sure that I have the right dimensions on the shop page, because I don't want to tell you a fib about sizing. But you know, it's a pretty good sized hanger. So all right, let's stop daubing for a second, and I'm just going to measure the height. Got my trusty ruler here. Yeah, so it is about 13 high and 10 wide. And I'll have to make sure. I don't think I have the proper dimensions on the site, but I had to make him a little bit shorter because he's pretty wide here. And I only have a certain amount of space on my laser bed. So that's the story, ladies. That's the story. All right, let's find a flat right here in front of my face. So I'm just going to paint the rest of this. Now, you don't have to paint under here because this is going to, I think I'm only going to paint down so far because, I mean, really seriously, we don't have to paint there at all because it's going to be covered with our next layer. And now that you see now that I use my brush here, still see where my spots are. So if you're looking for the link for this little guy, I can pop it up here in a second, and you can go check out if you would like one. Like I said, they're 25% off. I'm not exactly sure. I think it comes up to around 15, maybe. They're 18 regular, so 25% off of that, and that's Canadian pricing, so it'll be cheaper for the US ladies because our dollar is not worth as much as yours. So when it converts, it is a little bit less, like about, I don't even know what the exchange rate is now, 30, correct me if I'm wrong, ladies that are here from Canada. I think it's like 30%. So you're already getting a 30% discount plus the 25% off. So good deal for you US ladies for sure. So I'm just painting this little brim here with the graphite as well. This is part of his hat. And I am going to do my little dabber trick over these snowflake placements so I don't lose those in the foray too. In the hysteria. Okay. So we're going to give this a quick dry-in and see if we need to put another coat on. We might have to do that. Hi, Barbara. You can see sort of out of the corner of my eye there. So if you do have any questions about the kits. Hello, Miss Pam. Good to see you too. Sorry that you can't see that whole piece, but this is his hat brim. So I am going to put another coat on here because that first coat sort of kind of sinks right into the birch. So we want to make sure that it's painted well. We don't want a blotchy snowman. We can't be having that. Alrighty. And I think I'm going to do the same thing with my little makeup sponge over that placement of the snowflake spots again, just so I know where they're still at. There's not much point in putting them on there if I'm going to paint over them and then I can't see them. Okay, so let's dry that and we'll set this aside. I hope he turns out good, Donna. I hope he does. All right, so that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to bring the big part back again. So I did want to say, so the, you betcha. We'll see you soon, Pam. So this portion I cut with 1/4 inch birch, and then the smaller pieces, the attachment pieces, I cut in 1/4 inch, or an 1/8 inch, excuse me. But I cut this in the 1/4 inch because then, you know, it's pretty sturdy. It won't warp on you. Because sometimes if you cut it in thinner pieces, then it will give a little warp on you. So this will not warp with the 1/4 inch base. Okay. Cleaning out my brush there. All right, so yeah, so this will fit right on here. I'm gonna scooch this back just a little bit so that we can see what we're doing here a little bit better. All right, so that worked out well. So I think we can go ahead and paint our snowman face. So I'm going to do the same thing with my makeup sponge and my white over my spots. It should be fine with white because it's a lighter color, but we'll dab over that too, just to be on the safe side. Okay. And also I wanted to pop that link up for this so that you can have it. Bear with me, ladies. Just 1 second. Messing around over here trying to get this link for you. There we go. There we go. So we'll pop that in here in case you want to go have a peek. There we go. I think it went up there. It might be a little laggy. Let's see if it pops up. Did it? No, it may not have. For heaven's sakes. Okay, let's try that again. I'll give it a second and see if it works. It's giving me the gears. Oh, technology is just so much fun, isn't it? All right, so we're just getting our white on here for our snowman. So we'll get this base in place here, and then we'll start working on our smaller pieces up there. I don't think that did. Can you guys see that link? Because I don't see it. Can't even post a link on my own page. What the heck is happening to me? Oh my goodness. That is something else. If it comes up there multiple times, I apologize because it's not my intention to bombard you with the link, but it's just seemingly not showing on my end of the world. Okay, now it's going to pop up like a gajillion times. So sorry. It's posted twice now. This is the first time I've seen it. Seriously, it's the first time I've seen it. I apologize. Well, you're going to start, wow, she's aggressive. No, it's really, I'm sorry. It just finally popped up for me. Thanks, Sue. 3 times now. Oh my gosh. I'll go in and I'll delete those later. People coming along and it's like, what is that woman's problem? All right. So we're just going to go just a little bit above that pencil line that I put there because like I said, we don't have to really paint in there. It's going to be covered and it's probably best because our glue will be, you know, have something good to adhere to there when we put his brim on. So I think it's best to, I know it takes a little bit longer to dab this paint on here, but because I don't want to lose all those little carved lines, I think it's best to do that. I'll stay away from the buttons from now on. I'm done with that. I'm not touching anything. I promise. All right, so we're just going to dry this quick like, and I'm going to put a second coat on here. And then we're going to start working on those little pieces up there. Okay, I think that's pretty good. We'll come back into our white. And I think 2 coats should be good. You know, by the time we get our shading and all the kind of stuff that we're going to do here, I think, you know, as long as you don't have any, you know, really transparent see-through spots on there, you should be good to go. Trying to do this quickly. This is a, you know, a largish area to dab on with a makeup sponge. And I really didn't really need to worry about his nose because again, that will be covered, but that's fine. We did it, so we won't worry about it now. Okay. Okay, let's move this guy aside. Now, if I decide when I come back, when it dries, you know, while we're working on other stuff and I need to add a little bit more, I'll do that. But I'm just going to set him aside. I'm going to get my tape set up for these small pieces. And hi, Rosie. And we'll start painting those little pieces. Let's get this tape down here. So we'll get this on here so that we don't have our pieces get away on us. It's kind of nice. It just kind of hangs on to them so we don't have to chase them around, you know, and risk dropping them on the floor, which I do sometimes. They get away on me. All right, there's that. We'll just tape down the ends. And we should be ready to roll. Now, so the letters, of course, you know, we can base those in white. And I'm just going to use the same makeup sponge that I did before. We can also do our snowflakes too in white. So we have all these light colors. Get our letters done first and then we'll do our white snowflakes. Get those out of the way so they can be drying. Let's make some room here. All right, so same makeup sponge. I'm afraid I'm going to lose all his little mouth pieces there. Okay, so same white sponge. We'll just go ahead and dab paint on there. These paint up pretty quick. And I'll put 2 coats on these as well. And I'm just offloading the sponge a little bit so it's not really goopy. I'm just going to put 2 nice thin coats on these. The first coat, like I said, always kind of sinks in and goes away. Doesn't go away, it just sinks in and it's not as bright as you want it to be. So we'll just get this first coat on, we'll give it a quick dry, and then we'll add a second. Okay, we'll go back in here. Now for these letters, I'm going to add a little bit of blue. I'm going to use maybe, what color blue should I use? We're just going to kind of give them a little bit of a shade with the blue. All right, and how I'm going to do that, I'm just going to decide which blue I'm going to use. I think I might use some Bahama blue. I kind of like that color. Where could we find some? Well, I know it's here. Just bear with while I find that special color right here in front of me. Oh, for heaven's sakes. I'm a going concern tonight, ladies. All right, so we have our Bahama blue. It's a really pretty kind of tropical blue, but it works well with this little snow-covered areas. So I'm just going to reuse my sponges. Like I was saying in my last live, I kind of reuse them until I can't anymore. So I just keep cutting the dried ends off. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that Bahama blue. And you can use any color you want. I mean, if you don't want to add the blue to your letters, you don't have to. Again, I'm just showing you what I would do with it. And you can go from there. So I'm just going to kind of touch the top edges of my letters with that blue color, and just lightly, just to give that little hint of blue. It kind of looks really nice. Once we put it all together, you'll see. And then I'm going to do the bottom edge of the letters too a little bit. Same sort of thing. Just kind of touching the edge of the letter. And if you get too much blue and you don't like it, you can always tone it down by going back with your white sponge and adding a little bit of white back on there. So nothing is like permanent. If you need to fix it, you can. So there you have it. So our letters are basically done, so we can just go ahead and set those aside. And I'm going to do that way up over here, maybe at a camera shot, because when I bring the big piece back over, they'll all be in the way. So I'm just going to pop those little devils over there. And just be careful when you pull your things off of your tape that you don't snap your letters. So just kind of be conscious of where you're tugging on them there. All right, we got some snowflakes. We're going to paint those in a similar way that we just did the letters. We're going to do them white first, and then we're going to hit the edges with a little bit of that same blue. So let's get our white on here first. So, I mean, it seems like an awful lot of pieces and parts, but they paint up really fast. And then you know, when you start to put them together, they go together pretty quick. The new blue. Yeah, I do have the new blue. What was it called? Do you remember? I probably have it sitting right here somewhere. I had them all on my paint table. I do have it. I'm pretty sure I do. The new blue. Twilight? Is that the one you're talking about? I think that's it. And you can see I haven't tried it yet because it's still sealed. But I knew I had it. Okay, so we're going to do the same sort of thing. We're just going to grab a little bit, and I just put a little bit of that blue sort of just on the edge of my sponge. I don't put a whole lot on there, and I offload it again. And then I'm just going to kind of hit those little ends of the snowflake just to give it that little blue, hint of blue on there. That one's being stubborn, but it can be stubborn. We'll just move on. Maybe I just didn't have enough paint in that spot. There we go. So we're just doing all the edges. It's a little tighter down here on these tiny ones, but we will get it. There we go. So let's put our little, I'm going to move these over here because we're going to be painting these next. Put my little snowflakes over to the side. And that's, I mean, how fast they paint up. It's wonderful. All right, let's do his little nose here next. The eyes and mouth there that I'm trying to keep an eye on so that I don't lose those. I think I'm going to do his nose in a tangerine color. Let's try some tangerine. And then I'll put a little edge of burnt orange on there on the bottom. So let's get those two colors out. Yeah, look later, Sue. It's no biggie. I'm pretty sure it was Twilight, though. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. All right, so we have our tangerine color for our carrot. And this has little engraved markings on it as well. All right, we're just drying that first coat, and then we're going to put another on. And that's looking pretty good. And then I'm going to grab I've got a new sponge here. Well, a new old sponge, I should say. This one's dry on the end, so we'll just get rid of that piece and use that. I'll put a little bit of this burnt orange on here. And we'll see if we can mix a little bit of that on there. I might have to come back in with some tangerine just to blend it. We'll get this on the bottom edge, and then I'll come back in with some of that tangerine, and we'll see if we can blend that harsh edge there. And I'm just kind of patting that on there, and I think that's good. I'm liking that. What say you guys? So I'm just kind of using those two sponges sort of back and forth, and I think that turned out pretty good. And then you can also take a little bit of white and kind of just highlight that top edge. It'll look like a little bit of snow on his nose there. And I'm just tapping it right on the edge of that piece of wood. So I think that looks pretty good. Let's see here. He's got a pretty snazzy looking nose. Okay, moving right along. His hat band. Now, since I put the little bit of blue on the hat band, I think I'm going to use that same pretty blue color right on there. This is Bahama blue. This is Deco Art paints that I'm using. It's Bahama blue, in case anyone needed to know. And we'll give this a quick dry, and then I'm going to put a little bit of a shade on the bottom edge of that too. I think he's going to look pretty cute. I think so. All right. Like, really seriously, we've only been on here for half an hour, and you know, most of my pieces are already painted, and I don't think we started straight away because I was messing around with technology. So we really haven't been painting that long. So it's pretty good. Pretty quick little craft. And if you're a snowman lover, I mean, it's a pretty cute one. So, all right, I think I'm going to use a little bit of my desert turquoise for the bottom edge here. Oh, Stormy. Well, for heaven's sake, I think I do have that one too. I think I do. Oh, right here. Here it is. And it's not open either. So I haven't used it, but it is there. So you had to, it was bugging you. You had to go seek it out. Did you see? All right. So I have some desert turquoise there. Let's get another little sponge here. And we will go along the bottom edge of this one. And I think I'm just going to kind of come around that side right there. And again, I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to try and blend it out with my base color sponge, much like I did with the carrot. See how it's kind of blotchy there? We don't want blotchy. All right, so let's bring our Bahama blue back in, and we'll kind of see if we can blend that in there. With any success, we will try it. I think it works better if it's still a little bit wet, so I did dry it in there. So we'll just come back in with this, and I'm just going to go back and forth with these sponges until I'm happy with how that edge looks. Now you could take your angled brush and shade along the edge. I'm just kind of showing you a different way of doing your shading. If you're not a fan of using the brush, you can do it this way. So there, I think that's turning out pretty good. We'll just darken down a little bit of that edge there. I'm probably fussing with this more than I really need to. All right, and then you can take your white sponge again, like we did before, and you can put a little highlight of white along that top edge there, which also again will look like a little bit of snow on the hat band. Okay. Okay. Oh, I know. I hear you, Sue. It's like mine is the same. It feels like the walls are closing in here because my paints just I keep getting more and more out all the time, and it's craziness. Okay. So our little cardinal here. So this will also have our greenery on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this whole thing green first because I need the green underneath my red anyway. And ooh, that just spit out everywhere. And then I'm going to mark my line as to where to put my red, which it really, again, in the big picture won't matter because it'll cover it up anyway. So I'm actually going to paint this one green as well. So let's get both of those same time. So green it is. So this is just like a Hauser medium green color. So this is going to look a little weird off the start. My bird will be green for a minute or so. But we'll make sure he's red here in a second. And then we'll put our little holly leaves in green too. Get a second coat on these once this is dried. It's like a Hauser medium, this green. It's not Deco Art, but it is actually a Craftsmart brand, but it's as close to Hauser medium as you can get. I had it here, so I'm just using it. It's close by. Hi, Sandy. Yes, it has been a hot minute. I'm doing fine. Hope you're doing well, too. All right, so get this second coat of green on here, and then we'll have a good base for our red. And then we also, of course, have to do our holly leaves in green anyway, so that's good. So I'm going to set this portion aside for a second. We're going to do a little shading on that, but I want to dry this one and get my bird painted. And then we're going to paint these three pieces and get them glued together. So you can see what's what there. Okay, so I have close to me, I think I have Tuscan red. No, actually, you know what? I have this Americana satin that I'm going to use. This is dark scarlet, and I'm not even sure if they make this color anymore, but painting these kits is an amazing way to get, if you have like half bottles kicking around or colors that have been discontinued, great way to use your, your paints up. So let's try this. Let's try this color, see how it looks. I'm liking it. It'll work. So I'm only going, down as far as I think I need to because our holly leaves will be covered. I'm going to paint out his little beak here in a second too. Let's try that. It's kind of hard to see the green on the green tape, but it will be okay in a second. So that red works out just fine. All right, so let's paint out the beak. I'm going to paint my beak with some yellow, I think. So let's do, sorry for my phone dinging away there. Let's get some marigold here. See if we can, this paint bottle's almost empty. I don't even know why I have it still sitting here. We'll just take the lid off, see if we can get some out of the lid. Sure we can. We won't need very much. So let's get a liner brush. I'm going to paint my beak in white first because I think that yellow going over that red might not be a great idea. So we'll just put a little bit of white on here first, and then we'll paint our yellow. And now I can go in with my marigold color and paint the beak. I'm going to zoom in on this in a second because this is a small piece and I'm going to do a little shading on this bird, so I need you to see what I'm doing. All right, so there we have his yellow beak. Let's zoom in a little bit here. You better see what I'm doing. All right, let's take this little green piece and see where we're going to end up on this bird. All right, so I think I'm not going to worry about it too much. I was going to mark that, but I think what I'll do is I'll just get my angled brush in this mess. Where are you? There you are. I'll get some black. And I'm just going to shade along the bottom edge of the bird. So kind of where we think it would be. And because there's holes in this, you know, because of the holly leaves that are going over it, I'm just going to kind of guess where the bottom of my bird is here up to his bottom tail feather. And I'm just going to put that black right in there. So I'm just using an angled brush to shade the bottom edge there. I'm going to put a little bit on the bottom of his tail feathers. And right here behind his beak, you know how the cardinals have a little black here on their face. So I'm going to put that there. And I have a little bit of my burnt orange out here, so I'm just going to shade, you know, this, you might find this a little finicky because it's tiny pieces, but you know, you can do you if you want to shade yours or you don't. That's entirely up to you too. I just kind of like to give them a little bit of life with the shading. And then I'm going to take my liner brush and some black, and I'm going to dot his eye there. And a little bit of white, and give him a little eye dot. Okay, that makes me happy. And then, you know, you can take your liner and your white, and you can, you know, give a little highlight line here on his back. Do a little dot there and a highlight line. Same on his beak. I can give him a little highlight line there. And I'd say that's, you know, that's good. So there's our bird. And then for this part, I'm going to grab some of the house. I actually have some plantation pine. You guys all know that this is discontinued, but I have a crap ton of it. So again, good way to get rid of it because it's, you know, not many people have that anymore. But I do have a lot of it, so I might as well use it. So I'm going to use another sponge, and I'm going to take my dark green. And go along the bottom edge of my holly leaves. And this is where I'm going to bring in some of that lighter green again, because I think I put a little too much dark on there. So I'm just going to kind of bring that back a little bit. And then I'm going to highlight the top edge of my leaves with some Hauser light green. I'm just going to use the other side of this sponge end. So it just gives them a little bit of contrast. You know, it gives it a little bit of depth and all your little pieces. Righto. Okay, so this one will go on here. And then we have to now do our holly berries. So I'm going to again put some green on before I put my red on. Yeah, great way to use it up, Sue. I have so many bottles of discontinued colors all over. Like, I mean, if you saw the arsenal of paint I have, it is craziness. All right, in with the red. This dark red here. It's lovely red. It's kind of like a almost like a deep Merlot color. It's pretty. And we'll put a second coat on there. Perfect. And then we're going to glue that little bird together. Actually, I'll paint those eyes and mouth of the, because that's the last part that we have to do for the pieces. So I'll do that first, and then we'll put our bird together. And then we'll bring our big piece back, and we'll start shading that a little bit. All right, so this one here, the holly berries, I'm going to shade the bottom edges of my berries with a little bit of black. And we'll dry that. And then we can highlight the top with a bit of white. I'm just using my brush for this because I had it in my hand and I thought I might as well just use it. You could also use your sponges if you want to. It's a little bit tighter to get into these spaces though with sponges. All right, so we have a bit of a highlight happening there. I'll add some dots to those too, but I'll do that after I get it glued together so I don't smudge them. All right, eyes and mouth dots. Let's get all these little pieces on here. And I'll just use this one that I used for the graphite. We'll just get these painted in some black. Pretty simple. And then we can dry those and set them aside. And that's it for our pieces. Okay, so let us glue our bird together. Just going to get all of these little pieces out of here. I do want to speckle the hat a little bit, so I'm going to move these right out of the way because I don't want to get speckles on these. So let's move them on out. Get all my letters. Hang on, hang on. We're getting all this stuff out of the way. Okay, there we have it. All right. So let's glue our bird together. So we have our tight bond here. And then this can be set aside too, but at least it'll be put together and we can just put it on as one piece. So you don't really need a whole lot of glue for these. I probably put far too much on there. So just line it up. And then any of that glue that kind of squeezes out there, you can just pull that off of there. And this stuff dries clear, so you won't see it. I just take the excess, you know, oozing out of there. Okay, and then we'll get our berries. I did it again. The berries have markings. I opted apparently not to use them. So make sure you look at the right side of your berries. Don't be like Yvette and make life difficult for yourself. I did the exact same thing in my live the other night too, last week. It's so involved, I don't think to look. All right, so there's our little bird together. So he's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's set that aside. Let him dry. We got our main piece now. So I think I'm going to speckle these two pieces with a little bit of white. So I'm going to get my trusty toothbrush out here, get a little water on it, and put some snow speckles on here. Why not? So I'll just get my toothbrush. We'll work in that paint, test it on my plate, and then we'll throw some snow speckles on here. Lovely. All right, let me back up my camera so you can see what the heck we're doing here. Alrighty, so let's dry that fast. And then we can glue this little brim on here, or this little brim on. Get that in place, and then we can start shading a little bit on here. All right, let's get this brim on. He's coming together. A big old gob of glue down there. All right. Fabulous. He is going to be fabulous, I think. Excuse me while I tip it up. I just want to make sure my edges are all correct. It's in the right place. I think he's good. So the next portion, that little piece on his brim. So we already kind of shaded that there. So we can go ahead and glue that on too, I think. I'm going to wait. Just hang on. Because I want to shade a little bit of this. Let's get some of this Bahama blue. And I just want to put that along the edge of his brim first. So this will kind of tie that blue in that we've been using already. All right, let's see here. I kind of got a lot of paint on here. Just want to go along that edge. So I'm just rubbing my brush sort of right on the edge of the brim. Like so. That's spiffy. And then we can do the same thing on the edge of his hat a little bit. Just as a little extra highlight. Let's turn them back around, and then I'll just put a little bit on the top edge, and then I think we should be good. Okay. Now, I mean, later if you want to add a little snow on there, but I don't think we're going to need it with our speckles and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we don't need to overdo it. And we have our letters going on up there. So let me just dry this and we'll glue this little piece on here. Put that down in place. And I'm just going to hold this until we get it stuck. Now we could go ahead and, glue on letters, but I want to shade just a little bit on his face first before I go any further. So you could use a couple different things. Because we're kind of going in the grayish theme, I think I'm going to use a little bit of slate gray just to shade on his face a bit. You could use, burlap, depending on, what color scheme you're going with. But I think we'll stick with the grays and the blues. So I'm going to grab a bit of that slate gray. And we're just going to kind of just bring that around the bottom edge of his face before we get all of our pieces on here. So pretty much this is the last little bit that I have to paint, and then we can just start putting them together. Excuse me. And we can add some rosy cheeks too, if you like, if you want to do that. You can. And I'm going to put a little bit of that gray just under the brim, just to give a little shadow in there. Now, if it gets a little crazy and wild here and you get too much gray, just come back into your white. You can see I kind of went a little too far up there. Just come back into your white on your brush and just get rid of that extra line there that you don't want. Sometimes the water line from shading on the edge gets a little bit away on you. It's just paint, it's fixable. All right. So let me decide here. I don't know that I am going to put any rosy cheeks. We have our snowflake that's going here on his cheek. I think I'm just going to leave it be. No, I haven't, Sue. Do tell. I have not seen this textured goodness that you speak of. You'll have to fill me in. Okay, so we have all of our little pieces and parts here. So let's start with our L. So we can, I don't know if you guys can see that, the little indents in there. Maybe if I just tip it a little bit, you could probably still see them, but I can see them fine from where I'm sitting. So if you had yours sitting in front of you, you could see it too. Not an issue. All right, so let's just get our letters where they're supposed to go, and then we'll start gluing these down. There's my T. All right, let's work on that little bit first. We have a couple snowflakes to go in here. I have a tickle in my throat. Old eyes, I'm trying to see if I'm in the right place here. Well, forgive me if I get them crooked. I'm not, sitting right on top of it. So it's, we'll see if I can get it straight enough. Yes, please do, Sue. Send me a picture. Let me see what's going on. I like to know about new products. Sometimes I think I get so immersed in work that I miss out. You got to keep me in line here and keep me, in tune to what's going on in the outside world. This is the fun part, putting them all together. All right, and I think I have one little one goes here. And I think that size goes there. And those snowflakes are all etched out on there too, so you'll know where they are supposed to go. Which is handy as heck. So those little blue edges kind of look nice there, I think, on the letters and the snowflakes. What do you guys think? You got everybody intrigued there, Sue. Everyone wants to see what you're talking about. You're causing a stir, lady. Causing a stir. It goes like that. So this glue dries clear, so I'm not gonna, I just wipe the excess off. And then, you know, you won't see the rest, but I do try to get any really goopy spots off there. Let's go around this way. And we have a little snowflake that pops in the center of this one, this letter. I'll put that in a second. We'll just get my W on there. So far, so good. All right, and this little tiny snowflake goes in the middle of that O. Okay. Good stuff. All right, let's get that carrot on there. It's excited to see how that's going to look. Doesn't take much to excite me, see? Okay, I like that carrot nose. He's looking spiffy. All right, let's get some eyes happening here. So we have our two little eye dots. Let's get these glued down so I don't have to worry about losing them anymore. Okay, and all these little mouth dots. Bear with me here. There's a few. There is a few. Good job. This dries clear. I think I missed the mark entirely on that one. Had to slide it in place. Heaven's sakes, woman. My big fat fingers got in the way. One more little mouth dot. And you're free of this nonsense. Okay. There we go. So we have a couple little snowflakes to go on here, one there, and then the bigger one goes here. And then the one on his face, and then we have to add our bird. Okay, can't forget our bird. All right, so let's get these ones. So we're darn close to being done, this little guy. So then, you know, after you get it done, he has holes at the top, so you can add a hanger of sorts. You can add a bow to the top. I wouldn't, you know, because he's pretty detailed up there. If you wanted to add a bow on your string or your wire, you probably could do that. You could also use this guy in the center of a wreath. He would look really cute in there as well, if you were so inclined to decorate up a wreath. Okay. Let's move this poor guy over so you can see him better. I love him. He's so cute. All right, last snowflake on his cheek. And then our little bird goes right about there. Okay, let's move him up just a little bit so he doesn't overshadow the face. Right in there. I don't want him sticking out too far there. Okay, let's do right there, so we can see him. So he's already all glued together. We just have to glue this 3-layered piece onto our snowman head. Where did I say? Right about there-ish. Okay, I think that is that. Let me get rid of this green tape in here. It's kind of distracting. There we go. So what do y'all think? I think he's cute as a button. So if you're interested in this blank, you can pop over to my shop. I put the link in there. Apparently Sue told me 3 times, which I only meant to put it once. So, you know, forgive me. And I believe it's pinned right here at the bottom of this live. So if you want to grab one, they're 25% off until midnight Eastern time tonight. And then they'll go back to regular price. So pop over there and grab you one. Remember, if you're a US customer, to make sure that you change the, let me put my face back here. Change the currency to US. Make sure you're on US dollars, because you'll get, it will be cheaper for you because your dollar's worth more than ours. Alrighty. So it's just a Shopify store, so it's easy to change to your country. Just make sure you're on the right country. All right, what do you think? Super cute. Okay. Yes, very cute. I think so too. Well, you know where to find it, Sue. Make sure you use your discount code for being a member. Make sure you get your 20% off in there. If you don't get them tonight, you can still have a discount. So Tonight till midnight, you get 25% off. If you use your code after Sue, you'll get 20% off. So either way, you're going to get a discount of some sort, somehow, some way. So it's a win-win for you. All right. All right. I think I'm going to sign off. Thanks for hanging with me for the last hour and 15. It's been a pleasure. And like I said, if you're interested in one of these kits, go in there and have a boo to get this one. And there's lots of other ones in there. You know, have a little peruse around. Okay, we're adding more new kits all the time, so make sure you check back often too and watch the page here, because we'll be doing more lives of various different ones. We'll be doing some ornaments and things coming up, so make sure you check back. All right, thanks for